Well, my phone died, so hopefully all of that unboxing stuff is not deleted, but it might be. Hopefully not. That would suck. But continuing on, this might be like 45 minutes into the stream, and my phone died, so highly likely that the rod unboxing and the last 40 minutes of unboxing stuff is deleted. So, next in the bag. So right now, in case all the stuff got deleted, this is I'm just opening my Depths Terrapon body bag for bank fishing. I'm going through all the baits I have in there since the end of fall and what I have been using and kind of an insight on everything. But I have this box of Mega Bass Dark Sleepers. These are all 1/2 ounce, 3-inch. These all have a fiber weed guard, pieces of a fiber weed guard epoxied on. So these are all modified Mega Bass Dark Sleepers here. So that is a go-to bait for me. I like throwing these. I throw these on the Levante Diablo Spec R, and I think it's fun. The hook sets are great. That's in the bag. What else we got? This whole case of the net heads that I make. So sometimes when I make net heads, there'll be like a flaw or blemish in the lead or the paint, and I'll, instead of selling it, I'll keep it for myself, and I usually throw it in here. So it functions the same, but it might not look the best. So I always have this little box of just net heads, and usually I'll have some TRDs in there in the bag or something, but have those. This bag's getting, as far as baits, that's pretty much all I have in there. We have this Nomaze gill from Duo. This is kind of like, it's a super finesse, like bluegill elastomer type plastic. Found out the hard way that this thing melts if you combine it with other plastics, but it's a cool bait. That's in the box. I think I got this from the bento box. So I threw that in here. And I just have a Ziploc bag of just random plastics in here. I have some swamp trout plastic baits. Use a homemade bait maker for plastics. Some baits from Nick Rundle. He's also a bait maker out of Iowa. I got some Beast Coast drop shot baits in here. Yamamoto Senko's in here. Some Doe Life Cross and OSP in here. Some Robo Worms. Some Doe Life Shads from OSP. There is what would this be called? I don't know if that's a Duo. It's like a 6-inch worm. There's some Damiki Armor Shads in there. So just like a random, I think this bag was just like used plastics that I just took off the hook and threw it in the bag. So that was in the bag. So that, as far as like baits, that's most of, I have some like scent that I do use scent a lot, but I have that in the bag. I just have like, you know, tools for pike. Some measuring tape, scissors. I have a couple pairs of scissors. I don't like those boomerang scissors because they don't like cut braid very well. So I've been using like the 6 Sense brand scissors, some Baker scale. And I think I have like a Ziploc with batteries in my bag in case my scale's dead. But it has a flashlight on it. So yeah, if you're just joining, I don't know, I've been streaming for like an hour, I feel, and my phone died, so I don't know if I'll be able to save that whole stream that I've been doing. Kind of got screwed there. But yeah, I went over the hook wallet. I do have a couple of these if you're interested. And I went over the Yozuri. This is a 14-pound. I use this as a leader line for jigs under half ounce, and I like it. It's not expensive. But yeah, in case my video got deleted, I might just like run through everything else that could have gotten deleted. So I have, you know, the medium-sized Mega Bass pouch with just some random hair jigs and baits in there. Not really using this bag to its full potential, but I have this large bag that I had just plastic in. So, you know, I had the chigger craws in there. I had these like solar flare colored bellows craws in there that I haven't tried. That was in the bag. I have my Ned rig and drop shot. Well, I think for drop shot I have 10-pound as well, but I have the 7-pound for Ned rigs. That is my go-to size. Like Sniper has like those like interesting pounds. Like they have like 3-pound. I think they have like 5-pound and like 13-pound. But yeah, we went over the power bait flatworms. These things go out of stock all the time. I don't see how these are any better than what I've been using. The OSP HP tail. Is that what it's called? HP shad tail, I mean. These are awesome drop shot baits. We went over that. The Nishini baby catfish 4-inch. These are great, you know, free rig drop shot, Ned rig. These are cool looking baits. They have a little bit more elasticity than like a lot of other plastics, but trying these out, they're a little on the pricier side, but they're unique. You know, bile shrimp 4-inch, cinnamon blue flake, Mega Bass. Super small 2-inch doe live cross from OSP. These are like a brown red flake, like a pink muted belly. These are specifically bought for Finesse Jig trailers that I have, 8-ounce jigs. What else did I go through? You know, I got the white rock hogs that are awesome on a swing head or a nut head even. But then I like these, so I bought some chartreuse. The bait's already like proven itself that it's awesome for me. But yeah, like one of my favorite drop shot baits, the OSP doe live stick. I went over this. This is pack's almost gone, but I've gone through a pack of green pumpkin and almost this pack of this like minnow color. Super good bait, 4.5-inch. I throw like a 2-aught hook on there, 2-aught UWG hook, and I just drop shot that. That is some TRDs, the big TRDs. This is the green pumpkin goby, so it has like a gold and purple flake in it. Always have these just because I have that box of Ned heads in my bag all the time. The Death Hatters from Depths, these are the larger, they're 5 inches, but I mean, a little big for a chatterbait trailer. I guess you could bite it down, but I usually will drop shot this too. A Ned head would be fine too. But you could tell like the quality is like, they're super soft, they're oily, and like the colors are really nice on these. Like there's a lot of, this is a bluegill pattern. It has gold and like sapphire flake in it that just, it's really like presented well. They did like a really good job. And then like the spark shad, the 3-inch spark shad. Okashira head. I always have these. I have a couple colors in the 3-inch that I usually have in my bag all the time. So I'm just gonna chuck these back into this bag. So yeah, these are, they might even be called like the Mega Bass clear pouch, but that is the large and the medium size version. I went through my leader lines. This is also another pouch that Mega Bass has. This is like the small version. So this is kind of like that Bass Mafia, Sixth Sense, Guggen Squad kind of like bait bag, but it's like a super small Ziploc. And I think these are just used drop shot baits that I was using, the doe live stick and the Death Hatter. with some scent, with that like liquid mayhem scent on it, turned it purple. So these have like the tungsten weights still tied on, but I think I just threw those in the bag because I changed my bait. So I have these in a bag instead of just throwing them in a pocket. So yeah, that's like my little bait fishing bag. I have the tools, I have like an extra bag of plastics, I have the leader line. So this is like, if you missed the first part of the stream, you know, I have these are pliers that I really like. They're from Cast King, but, you know, affordable. This is just like a super, it's not that big, but it's a shoulder bag. It's waterproof. You have a hole for like a line or whatever you'd use that for, but these straps are good for if you wanted to have a rod like on your back while you're bank fishing and have, you know, you have a rod in your hand and you have a rod in your bag, so you're not setting your rod down as you're like changing spots, you know, or like tying new bait on. You don't have to like set your stuff down. It's got a cup holder, it's got this Velcro strap so you can make it longer or shorter. It's got like a padded back. It's pretty comfortable. There's not a lot of I don't think there is a review online or like on YouTube, but this is the Depths Terra Pollen body bag. I might have said that like 4 times, but it's a cool bag. I did go over my rod that I unboxed like an hour ago, but since that video might be gone, full cork grip. It is a shorter butt section, so easier to impart, is that the word? Your bait. It's got like this EVA gripped reel seat thing here. But yeah, it's got like this like cool snake skin blank, and it goes into like the main part of the blank, which is like this matte black, matte gray. Fuji guides. This is their Rochi XXL spinning rod, the Ronin. It's a 6/8 medium, 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce. I bought this. I already explained why, but that video might be gone. I got this specifically for jerk baits because I'm used to, well, I've always fished with a bait caster fishing jerk baits, and it was I think I used a 610 medium, and then that rod got stolen, but I switched over and tried like a short cranking rod, like a 610 cranking rod for jerk baits, because a lot of people kind of use crankbait rods for their jerk baits because the action is more soft, and it's a treble hook bait, so you want to like keep the fish pin. But as far as like working the bait, I hated that. So I have, this also has semi-micro guides. I think I'll still do braid to leader, but we'll see. I could go straight fluoro, but I think if I go with like a 15-pound braid to like a 10-pound sniper leader, I think these guides will be fine. Like I shouldn't have issues with them. But yeah, this is a fast action. It's 6/8, so it's a little shorter, so it should, you know, not hit the ground as much if I'm bank fishing or kayak fishing. It shouldn't hit the boat. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's got a lot of bend to it, you know. It's a fast action, but I can't really show the full rod. Yeah, I mean, as far as like loading up a 2-pound plus bass, I mean, we'll find out, I guess, but I still need a spinning reel for it. I can go the deal route and do like a Shimano CI4 and just have like get one of those for like $170 somewhere, or I can try the new Vanford out, spend an extra, you know, $100, or get the Tatula LT3000, which I do not own yet, but I do like Daiwa reels for bait casting reels, and I like Shimano spinning reels, so I think it's more of the braking system on the Daiwa bait casters that I just feel are easier to dial in. But I know Shimano, there's a lot of Shimano fanboys out there that'll disagree, but you know, that's kind of what I like. I like lures and Daiwa for bait casting. But yeah, this is the rod that I unboxed an hour ago before my phone decided to die. I went through a whole box too of JDM baits. Two. I don't know if I want to show these again, but I could show them again really quick. In Fenton, Missouri, there's a place called Denny Dennis. Tons of JDM stuff, JDM megabass rods, swim bait, glide baits, all the new 6 Sense, like newly released swim baits, glide baits that 6 Sense has. They even have the new 6 Sense swim bait, swim jig. It's got like this rotating axle on it, so it's called the axle. It's a 6-aught EWG hook with a screw lock keeper for your plastic on there. So it's, I don't know if I want to call it a knockoff of the ISM Carver JDM bait, but they have already had that out for a long time. But the store had these, tons of stock of those. Tons of stock of Vision 110s in all colors, even the Respect colors of that month. So they had this, they had the crystalline frog there, they had, you know, I want to say the gory muddy copper color. So I got the Dorado color there, $22 instead of $25. A little bit of save money there. I got a couple poppers. I got the Depths Postcard Junior, which has like it's got a super realistic bluegill pattern on it with a black Marabou treble hook on the back. So it's a depth bait, so it has the spring internal to it with a tungsten ball, so the ball, you know, vibrates when the bait is, you know, still after you pop it. So it has like a secondary vibration to it. Never used it. Try that out. Then I got the Rio Rico, which is like the larger version. Lobina is the brand. This bait has a lot of good reviews, and I got the tried and true bone color with the white treble on the back, so try that out. So even like, I got this jerkbait rod, right? I could probably use this for more than jerkbaits. It's a 610 fast action 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce. I could throw like finesse jigs on this thing. This is a cool spinnerbait I got online. Sorry if you've already seen this unboxing, but this is the Imikatsu Helter Twister. It's a multi-bladed spinnerbait on a swivel. So this swivel is going to, you know, swivel as you swim this thing, or pop it, or whatnot. And it has an eye here that you can attach a weight to. This is like a red gold head, and it's got like a shad gold skirt on there, and it has these like longer, thicker silicone like material on there that I wish I could find to put on my own jigs, but it's kind of difficult to find this. I don't think you can find that stuff. It's got like the molded bait keeper on there, just like a unique JDM spinnerbait with a good hook on there. It's got like a silky coated hook on there. Shit looks cool. So yeah, I am going over the stuff I went over already, because that video, like the whole hour of streaming, could be completely deleted and gone. But same place I got this. I got these from. These are the Doe Life Stick 3.5 inch. So these are in a bluegill color. It has like the sapphire gold black flake in it. Super awesome drop shot bait. 3.5, the 4.5, the 4. Those are all good drop shot baits. I fish them on a 1/0 EWG hook, and they work. So I haven't changed. My favorite color from, there's a lot of OSP plastics in this box, but this is my favorite color from them. It's just like the chartreuse green pumpkin. This is a cool free rig bait. This is a 3.5 inch, so it's not, you know, it's not like a big punching bait or anything, but it's got these like thick claws on there. So if you free rig this thing, this thing's gonna like kick like a dolphin kind of as it falls. So I think the free rig is probably the best way to rig this, but I mean, you could throw this on a trailer if you want. You could punch this thing if you want. I make my own jigs, so I don't really buy a lot of jigs, but I bought this tungsten Picasso, tungsten little spotty. It's a 3/0 hook. What is the weight? It's a 3/16. So add a trailer on there. It's pretty versatile. It's got like a rubber collared skirt on there, but nothing too fancy about it. I don't know why I even bought it. Green pumpkin, can't go wrong. This is a silent topwater walking bait, the Dog X Diamante from Megabass. I got this because it looked cool. It's got the white belly with like that pink gill throat on there. Realistic color. Silent walking bait. So this is the last bait of this box I'll open before, I don't even know, maybe we'll tie a jig. Ben Fishing, what's up, dude? I showed this earlier, but this is the Imikatsu Waddle Bats. It is a wake bait, kind of shallow crankbait. Check out the lip on this thing. Look how like round that is. So this is gonna have, it's gonna have a wide wobble to it, and it's got like a round split ring on it too. So this thing's gonna be, you know, side to side a lot. It's got like this circuit board lip on there. But look at the paint job on this thing. That's like insane. It's not like an airbrushed paint job. It's like a printed paint job. So Imikatsu did this. I'm using the front camera of my phone, so the picture quality is not the best. So yeah, it has like size 6 hooks on there. It has this like cool blade on the back, so it's gonna be like noisy when you're cranking it. But like this isn't fluted like the gong. I think the full-size Megabass gong has like that fluted blade, but this one just has etched in lines. So it's like a shield-shaped blade. So I was saying earlier, people make these like wooden crankbaits. I think that would be a cool, you know, that's a cool idea. You know, if you wanted to throw a blade on your crankbait. It's got those like cone-shaped, God, I don't even know what the name of those are. What, cone washers on there? But yeah, this thing is gonna be kind of like the Megabass gong, but it's super small. I think I weighed it earlier. It's a 3/8 ounce. So yeah, I unboxed a rod that I've had in my house for like 2 weeks because I wanted to see it obviously, but I figured I'd do it live, and I did that, and I unboxed this box I just showed you, full of like JDM crap I bought. And then my bag that I use for bank fishing, I thought it would be a cool idea to run through that. So I ran through that, and my phone died. So I'm pretty sure my whole live stream got just deleted. I don't know if I can get it back, but I quickly ran back and ran through everything else. So ever since my phone died, I have shown everything I have shown. But God, I keep wanting to pick this rod up. So like, yeah, I wanted to get a jerkbait rod, a spinning rod at least. I have a lot of bait casting rods. But like Tackle Trap, Hook Up Tackle, Tackle Warehouse, all those like online stores, like none in stock, especially the Ronin. Like the Ronin I could not find anywhere, and I saw it in person. I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy this. I was in Missouri for work, and I bought it, and they agreed to ship it to my house, and it's just been sitting in the tube for 2 weeks or so. But yeah, I'm excited to use this. It is probably not going to get used until spring, but this thing's going to be pretty cool. What reel should I put on this? I like Shimano spinning reels, so we'll see. But that's cool. I showed this yesterday, but I mean, what the hell? This is a Daiwa Coastal. I don't have a use for it. It has a bigger handle on it, and it has like a 150 size spool on it, but the frame is like, I think the frame is like a 100 size frame, like the Tatula 100 is. So I got a good deal on this reel. It's obviously looks cool as hell. It's got the T-wing SV spool, so I could throw light baits on this. But since it has a bigger spool and a larger handle, I think, like Hellabass joined the stream yesterday, and he recommended a frog reel. It would be a good frog reel. So you got like all this, you got this longer handle, and it's got the SV spool, so you could throw a 1/2 ounce frog with like any bait caster. But if you have like that, well, I was gonna say if you have the Jackal Cara frog, but that's a 1/2 ounce, so that's different. But there's a lot, like if you have a smaller frog, you could throw it probably on this. Have something cool. I think it's funny because I'm like I make jigs, and I'm a jig maker, jig company or whatever. But like I've been streaming the last couple of days, like probably 2 hours just on like JDM crap. But anyways, I got this in a bento box from Hook Up Tackle. It has a like super finesse frog in it. So this has like a sprinkler tail, and this is like it's like a super soft frog, but look how tiny it is. It has like I want to say like a 2/0 EWG hook on it, like Texas rigged onto the bait, and it's like formed perfectly so that hook is not going to get snagged in like pads and stuff. Super good hook. I don't know if it's like a Zappu hook or a bellows, or like the bellows hook, but it has this bead that sits here, and this swivel sits on that, and attached to the swivel is a screw lock into a Teckle Sprinker type tail. And if I rig this thing, and not rip this bait is like intended for like, I don't know if I want to say like tournament fishing, but like if you need a catch or something, if you need a fish, like this is like a finesse approach, but these things can get chewed the hell out of, and it comes in packs of 2, and the hardware is included. But there's like another like modification. You could buy those. You can buy those like Teckle Sprinker tails, and you could throw those on there. It'll be like a beefier. What's up, Punch Fishing? Dude, you missed like an hour of like JDM crap. You missed. I unboxed the Ronin today too. Anyways, Punch Fishing, I watched all his videos. Yeah, but anyway, I thought of that. Thought I'd show you. I mean, since I haven't tied a jig yet, can we look at some swim baits I haven't fished with yet? So this is made from Fom Lures. This is, I want to say this is like a, I don't know, is this a bluegill pattern? Looks like a perch pattern, but I think this is like a 2 ounce glide bait, like a resin bait. Pretty cool. I just saw this in I have like this locker full of crap. I haven't showed this on stream yet, but here's another bait. This is like a 2.7 ounce glide bait from Bait Sanity. I have not fished it yet, but this is a perch pattern. I think this is Bait Sanity. Yeah, this is a Bait Sanity for sure. But they make affordable glide baits with really good quality, and I don't think these tails are replaceable, but they came out with a bluegill version. So it's got the bluegill profile, but I think you can only buy the floating styles right now. But I don't know, they make good quality glide baits for an affordable price. I want to say this was like, I don't know, it might be like $60, but this is pretty cool. I had a Sneaky Pete. I don't know if you know the brand Sneaky Pete, but they make pretty good glide baits for a pretty good price too. I catch a lot of pike on those, and it got stolen from me, so I don't have that one anymore. Yeah, I have not tied a jig at all yet. I don't know if I want to. Do I want to? I just picked this box up. We're just talking now, but these are some wooden baits that I made that I did post before, but I haven't fished them yet. This is just like a bluegill, kind of like a half-ass wake bait, crank down kind of bait. I just practice carving and airbrushing. Kind of cool looking. The tail's Lexan, so it's not very flexible, but you know, you'll learn. Here's a cool jerk bait that I painted. This is a like 110+1 blank. So I went with like that perch. I made a post of that earlier this year. Here's like a really crappy rat I made. I used the Spro tail that they use on the rats, and I like epoxied it in. But I went with like it's a dark green with like a chartreuse top. Like, oh, I could see it good now because it's chartreuse on top. Then the bottom's dark. But yeah, I went with like this joint, and then I didn't really like it. So I don't know. It's just kind of a fun thing. This is kind of a fun joint too that I made. It's kind of like an experiment. But here's like another. It's supposed to be a perch. So I glued these fins on that I carved out. Then I put this synthetic. I think it's synthetic deer hair for a tail. But yeah, that tail looks pretty sweet. So it's got some flexibility, but it's still kind of rigid. Got these treble hooks that I put some feather. It's not marabou, but they're feathers and flash. So I went with like a copper color for that, like mimicking the orange on a perch. Bunch of like ST36 hooks. This is the first wooden bait I've ever made. This is like a walking style bait, and it's kind of like a, I don't know, it's got a blue top and like a bait fish shad color, and it's like square looking. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I got like kind of a cupped lip, cupped face on there, like I got that going, but I did fish this, and this thing just like, it stays flat and it goes out really wide. So I mean, I think I could catch a fish on this, but if I'm fishing, I mean, I got a lot of better options than using this bait, but this is the first wooden bait I've ever made. This is embarrassing, but this is a bluegill crankbait I made. The paint job's alright. Like, it's not symmetrical. Like, the eye is in a different spot on this side. But, like, look how fat that it, like, it's super fat. The top's kind of weird. The bottom's white and orange. So, like, the paint job's alright, but, like, I don't think I've fished this yet. But, I mean, it's like a Magnum freaking square bill. It's got a round bill, though. Lexan. Pretty cool. I don't know. I just saw that in my locker and thought I'd show you guys. Punch, did you get the Geek Crack box? Wonder if he's in here still. So I mean, I did a stream last night. I unboxed a bunch of JDM stuff. I guess you could just look at that post if you want to see that. I'm not gonna probably do that stuff again, but I got, one of them was a bento box. One of them was just a box of JDM stuff that I've bought, and I've kind of combined a bunch of different stores into one box, and I unboxed that. Then I showed this Geek Crack box that had a bunch of plastics in it, some like unique stuff, and a limited edition like wake bait in there. It's like a cool color. It's the Gilling Neo. It's a floating bait. But yeah, I won't go through that because I did yesterday and I don't want to be like repetitive. But I think the stream's doing a lot better than last night's stream. my audio and my like video quality was terrible. But yeah, we were drinking. It was my first time. Let's see. So I showed off a lot of stuff. Here's my reel. So much stuff I went through. I don't want to sound repetitive, but I went through, you know, my bank fishing box I had. You'll see that if you watch the video later. But last night I tied a jig that had this ostrich hair in it, ostrich feather in it. So I thought I wanted to do something cool and different. And we did make this, you know, without, you know, having a plan. We ended up making this like little 1/4 ounce finesse jig with that green pumpkin black barred ostrich feather on there, and it's got black marabou, and it's got silicone, you know, finesse cut skirt on there, and it has the 2/0 owner hook. I said in the video it was a number 2, but I did have that, you know, 30-pound mono bait keeper on there for specifically like the JDM plastics, like the Dull Life stuff that I buy that does tear up easily. So I went with the mono instead of like the wire bait keeper. So I always put the mono on jigs that are like less than 3/8 because I mean I'm using like smaller baits that tear up easily, but I guess you can buy other brands that are tougher, like I don't know what are tough brands of plastics. KVD. Anyways, that's what happened yesterday. I am gonna give this away, and I think to win this you just have to leave a comment on that video from yesterday in my Instagram comments. And I'm gonna give this away. I'm gonna give more than this away though. If I'm gonna box up a box, I'm gonna put more than this in there. I posted this jig on Instagram pretty recently. I'll throw that in the box. This is for yesterday's video. You can still, I guess, make a comment to be in there. I made this jig. This is just like that basic finesse jig. I'll throw that in the box. I will throw these in the box. This is like all the recent finesse jigs I've made. So this is like an orange. This is a 1/8. I want to say that is a 2/0 hook. But we got orange finesse jig. We have this purple blue, like this is a 1/4 ounce. So yeah, this might be the 2/0 owner hook here. This is going in a giveaway too. This might be the 1/0. It is, because I could tell the hook diameter is thicker. Here's another one. It's a red, brown, black finesse jig. This is going to be a finesse jig box. Here's a green pumpkin red. Got the matte green pumpkin paint job with the 1/0. Chartreuse Magic Craw green pumpkin. This is another 1/8 1/0 hook owner. They all have the 90-degree owner hooks on there with the various types of mono bait keepers on there. Here's like an orange and chrome. I'll throw that in there. This one's pretty cool. Looks like a craw. And here's a green pumpkin chartreuse, little orange, peach color finesse jig. I will throw all those jigs in this giveaway box, because if I gave all these away, I'm still going to have 10 times more than this that I'm probably never going to, you know, fish. So it does not kill me. Also made this Marabou Jig the other day. It's just 1/8. It has blue crystal flash in it. I'll throw that in the box. Here's another. I won't throw this in the box, but this is for a custom order. It's got green pumpkin, like accent skirting, and it's just like a orange brown craw. It's kind of like a remake of one of my older jigs. Like, a lot of people ask me to make this pattern that I obviously don't have, because like all the stuff I make is, it's kind of like a one and done design, and then people like scroll down and like pick out patterns they want, and they want me to make like, I want 5 of these or whatnot. So I do a lot of like recreating of like old stuff, depending on like if I have the materials to do it. So this is, God, I had this like pink and never mind, I'm not gonna give this one away. So sometimes I'll paint jigs and I forget to paint like the whole lead part, like the barb. I don't paint sometimes, like whether it's accident or not. So I like, well, I'm not gonna sell that. I'll have this as my personal jig. So I'll hold on to that one. Do you guys ice fish at all? I got this new packaging for my ice fishing jigs. This camera sucks, but you know, I don't know. This has a bluegill on the front. This whole background's like the scales of a bluegill I caught last year, and the back has a perch that I caught last year as the background. And it's like a matte finish, not glossy. So they're like a business card, and they have like the size of the tungsten. And then on the back I just write like the color. So that's cool. I just have stuff laying all over, so might as well show it off. Here's just a Berkeley hair jig I bought. I don't know. I'll probably vertical fish this, but it's a good looking hair jig with flash in it from Berkeley. They never rip companies off too, so that's good. Here's the KRO spin tail. So is this a depth bait? I think this is a depth bait. It's either that or dual, but it's depths, it says on the blade. But this is like it's kind of a tail spinner bladed jig hybrid. It's got a spin tail on it, then it's got this like, it's like a wire with a treble hook on it. So I don't know if this is gonna swim like this, and this hook is going to be like smacking against this blade and making a ton of noise. Is that what I think that's the whole point of that. But this treble hook is tiny, dude. That's smaller than like a size 6. That's like a size 8 hook. I think I got this in a bento box too. I should probably do like those bento box unboxings on this channel, because I have like a lot of cool, like, they give me a lot of cool stuff and I have like no one to share it with. I just like, oh, this is super cool, and then I stash it somewhere. But yeah, what do you guys want? I mean, you guys, should I tie a jig or should I just keep unboxing baits? I got tons of baits. And this is my second stream, so I don't know like how all of this works. I mean, I could kind of see people that are joining, and like, I think I could see comments if people comment, but oh, I don't want to end it. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just learning. So I think we'll tie a jig. This is gonna be a long stream. Holy cow! I don't know what time it is. It's 10:35. I'll tie a jig, but what I want to do is I want to add these, like, these are a thin leather that I cut out, and it's orange, obviously, and I kind of cut these claws out. So I want to tie these into a hybrid jig, not necessarily like a hair jig with all hair. So I have a couple jig heads made up. And I made this jig like a year ago, but it's got like dark green, chartreuse, orange. And if I throw that on this vise, I could probably put those orange claws on here somehow and make it look cool. I do have a hole in it for a weed guard, so maybe we could put either like a green pumpkin colored weed guard on there, or what I do is I put epoxy, and I actually colored the epoxy to match the head, and I put Nimrod's tackle on eBay. These like wire, stainless twisted wire in there. I'll put 2 or 3 of those on depending on the size of the jig, and those things are great. Like, I talked about this already, but I put these wire baits on. Like, that looks a lot better than like a fat, like line fiber weed guard. I think looks more realistic. Plus, I don't think they're like semi-stiff, and they bend a lot when you fish them like in rocks and catch fish on them, but you could bend them straight like right after. Like, if you catch a fish and reel it in, this wire is going to be like all mangled, but you could just like, you know, move it wherever you want, and it does help from getting snagged up. So I think this is what I've been doing for a long time, as in like the last few months. I'm from Minnesota. I don't know if you guys know, but this is a pretty popular beer. Diversion fishing. That's cool. Yeah, it's more realistic and it functions well. So, and I like the look of it. So, that's how we've been doing it lately. So I'm gonna put this on the vise. This is gonna be a long stream, but it's all good. So this has a little bit of lead on the hook. So I just like, I use pliers and I twist it, and it just breaks off that lead, because I'm going to be tying like a 1/4 inch of thread on that piece of hook, on that hook shank. So yeah, let's tie a jig quick. I have a lot of baits I could show, but like I need like some content for the future, you know. Should we do this? I zoomed in yesterday tying a jig and it looked like crap, so we're not going to do that today. Maybe this will work better. But yeah. So this shirt, CW Outdoors, is like it's a place in Minnesota up by St. Cloud. They have like tons of kayaks and like, I guess like canoes and stuff you could rent, you could buy. So it's like a store meant for like people like non-boats, like canoes and kayaking and fishing. And they have, I think annually they have a tournament, and I think last year they didn't have one, or was it, yeah, this year they didn't have one. I think last year, I don't know if they did or not, but COVID and all that. But this is just like it's the Bronze Back Classic. This is the 2019. This is it's a tournament they have every year, I think, for bass fish, for smallmouth on the Mississippi. It's supposed to be like a stretch of water that's like top 10 in the world for smallmouth, and I've been there twice and it's been pretty damn good. Like both times I went. Yeah, the water is super, super low right now. So last time I was out there, I was bottoming out on like boulders while I'm fishing. Like, I had a drift sock and everything, but like I didn't think I needed one, and the water was so low. I would just be fishing and I would hit boulders all the time. So like the Mississippi's, it's gotten super low. So I don't know if I'm gonna go back there anytime soon, but I want to say they'll like shuttle you for like $25. Like, you could shuttle, like I have my own kayak on a trailer, and I could take it there, and for $25 they could shuttle me and my kayak to, like, I think it's 13-mile stretch of the Mississippi, where they'll drop you off and pick you up when you're done, and you could be out there like 8 hours fishing in like dead quiet. It's like super nice. But Hello Bass, how's it going? So yeah, if you just joined, I just did some unboxing of some more JDM stuff. I showed off some baits I made. I opened up my bank fishing bag at the end of fall without organizing it to kind of show what I've been fishing. That's all done. I'm going to make a jig now with the intent to add these leather claws that I cut out. And hopefully we can make something that looks good. But I have on this looks like a 3/8 ounce jig with orange, chartreuse, and like a dark green pumpkin on top. And it has a weed guard hole in it, so I'll have to put a weed guard of some sort in there. But first, we used this, Danville 210 last night. This is the waxed, I don't fly tie, I don't really know much, but this was the waxed Flymaster Plus. So this is like a round thread that has wax on it. And I used this yesterday and it really builds up kind of heavy, so I'm gonna go with like a flatter thread, and this is just the Danville 210 flat wax nylon. This stuff lays down pretty flat compared to that one, but this will work. This is what I use for like 75% of my jigs. The other brand I use, and I don't know thread, like I'm not like a super snob because I've never tied a fly before, so I don't really know like what brands are good. But this Vivis, there's like a 150D and a 100D, with the 100 being like a thinner one. This stuff, it's like all these strands that are like twisted together, and for some reason this stuff does not break. I could like pull down really heavy on it and it won't break while I'm tying, so this is perfect for deer hair. Because with deer hair, you really want to like, not cinch it down, but like you want to tie it down hard. Because the harder you tie it down, the more flare you'll get with the deer hair. So I'll just talk to myself as I make this. So we know we want to do these orange claws, but at the same time we can do we can see I have some other materials I've never put on a jig before, but I don't know if it's gonna work with this head or this style and color. But I showed you last night. This is ostrich herl. It's like a marabou type feather, but it's really long. So like this would be good for like musky, like, what do you call those, bucktails? This would be good for that. But for this jig, this feather is gonna like, it's gonna be like this long past the hook. I don't know if I want to use that, but I do have it and I do need to use it up, so I'll have to figure out a way to put that on a jig. Maybe I'll just have to cut it short. But it's kind of like marabou, but it's got more of like a thicker feather. Like marabou's more pointy. This is kind of more, it's thicker. Anyways, but yeah, we put this ostrich strung barred feather on last night. We have this blue stuff too, same thing, but I don't know if that'll look good on this jig. And I have this like moppy, like synthetic, like weird fly tying crap. Like I've never used this, but it's called McFly-On. I don't know like how people would like tie this in, but I don't think I want to try that with this jig. But anyways, let's tie a bait keeper on this, and I'll just tie a wire bait keeper on here. I won't. Well, I'll tie the mono bait keeper on just to show, because it's kind of unique, I guess. I used it, repeating myself again, but I was streaming for like an hour and my phone died, so I don't know if all of that's gone. But this is just trilene big game. This is mono that is 30 pound. I was using 20 pound fluoro for my bait keepers and my Ned rigs, for like a bait keeper on my Ned rigs and on my EWGs. Sometimes for drop shot I'll put, I showed earlier, but I showed the bait keeper I used 20 pound fluoro for that. But I've changed to this 30 pound mono. It's more stiffer, and for a bait keeper that's so short, this is kind of the deal. So now, probably for the next like 20 minutes, I'm going to be tying a jig, so get ready to be excited. So I take a piece, fold it in half, and I tie it down. At the end, it'll look cool. Like I don't think the jig will look bad, but it's kind of a boring process if you're like watching a video. So then you just layer up a ton towards like that top curved part of the mono. So that way the mono is not like laying flat towards the head. It's like it sticks up, and that sticking up is what's going to keep your bait stuck there. Especially if you're using plastics that are not so durable and that tear up easily. This is not going to tear that bait like a metal keeper would tear it. And also, I could use super glue or Sally Hansen to kind of glue this thread down. It's not going to matter. I cut the top of this curve off so that it leaves two pointy tips, and I kind of spread it out a little bit. And if you put a bait on there, it's not going to come off. So you have this mono keeper, and then you have this like molded keeper too, so your bait's not going to slide off. Not that that's a big issue for a lot of people, but it's just nice to have everything working right. So I'm just going to put Sally Hansen on. I think yesterday I used that blue Loctite super glue. I mean, I don't even have to glue it. It's not going to come apart. But I'll do that. So now I have these leather strips here. So now I have to figure out if I want this to be in the background or on the top. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have it in the background of the silicone to make it look, semi-decent. So, but if I'm tying a jig on video, I kind of want to put Marabou in here too. Maybe we'll put some olive Marabou down, and then that way that will like thicken up this tying section, and then I'll put the claws on, and that like thick section with the Marabou will actually splay out the claws a little bit, hopefully. So yeah, I just thought of it, but I'm gonna get some olive Marabou, and we're gonna 360 the Marabou around this whole jig. I have a ton of it, and I just stepped on my new rod. Awesome. Anyways. So I get the extra select hairline. You can get by with, here's the black I used yesterday, but you can get by with just select Marabou in it, and it's pretty close. But this is like the best quality. Obviously it's more pricier, but might as well use the best if you have it. But yeah, a lot of like the cheaper brand Marabou, like Cabela's brand Marabou, like the feather quality is not so good. So you're actually throwing away a lot of the like matted down stuff on there. And with this, you're not throwing as much of it away because most of it is workable. So yeah. There's a lot of like preferences I have. This is a lot different than some of these on the same, in the same bag even. Because some of the feathers are like, they're pointy, thin and pointy, and then some of them are like, kind of like that cloudy look where, it's fuzzier. But like, it doesn't matter. The bass aren't going to give a crap about that. So, we're going to tie this in. This like bottom part can be like matted and like gross, so I like I typically rip off like the bottom like 15% of this stem and just throw it away. But you see like some of it's longer than the others. But this is what I do. I just peel it off the stem and kind of keep this side even. I don't even know if that makes sense, but you could always shorten it. So I just kind of eyeball where I want to put it. This, I'm going to do it a little different than yesterday. I'm going to use less than I did yesterday. But you know, a little bit past the hook point. I don't think it's going to matter much, but I cut a little bit past of where I'm going to tie. I don't tie it on and then cut that extra piece off. So I'm going to like kind of like spread the marabou out while it's on there. And I'm going to put a couple of wraps around it and then like, you know, cinch it down. So that way you're spreading the feather out and then tightening it instead of like tightening it on right away. Because otherwise it's going to be just a clump on there. You're just tying clumps on there. So this way I was able to cover the whole top half of that with just that pinch because I spread that out. See, so now I'm just going to use one more pinch and I'll be able to cover this whole jig. And for marabou jigs, I do this, but I do 3 layers of what I'm doing now. So they're super poofy and they're clean. You know, I just make them how I would want to buy them. I know like Outcast Tackle makes, and they make like the Seth Fighter version, and I know VMC makes marabou. So I'm doing the same thing. But like a lot of those other brands, you can buy and unpackage them, and like you could tell that they're made fast. Okay, so I have a little gap that I didn't fill, so I'm gonna, you know, pinch a little bit off and put more on there. So this like butt section of this tying section is a little higher. So hopefully like it'll like spread that leather out more. Not gonna make a difference. Bass aren't gonna care, but we're making jigs, and that's kind of the goal, is to make a good looking jig. Like I make those like hair, like this is kind of like a hybrid jig, but I make those hair jigs that kind of, it's kind of what my company is based off of, is like that like unique style hair jig. And like it works in cold water, even it's a little better, I think, but I definitely wouldn't say like it replaces a silicone jig or anything. I wouldn't say that it's any better than, you know, a standard jig. It's cool, it's fun, it's different, and it works. Okay, so I have the marabou in. I did say last night that I'm not gonna glue the marabou, because you don't have to. Like, at least I don't. When I make my marabou jigs, I'll do the 3 layers of marabou, but I'm not gluing it between each layer. And I don't have issues with hair pulling out. But yeah, that's tied in. It's just like a thin layer around the whole thing. It's pretty proportioned. So we got claws. We're putting silicone on this too, and we'll put flash in with the silicone, and I think it'll look cool. So this jig will be able to put a trailer on, and it'll be cool. I'll give it away, maybe. Who knows? So with this claw, I made this like butt section a little fat because I want to fold this in half and then tie it on. And hopefully it won't be so thick, because I'm going to be tying silicone in that same section. I want to have, you know, I want to have space But if I fold this in half and tie it in, this claw is going to be like this instead of like this, hugging the hook. I want it to be like flat like that. So then it's like, you know, waving in the water, not like this, like tied up next to the hook. So we're going to tie these claws in and pray and hope that it looks cool at the end. And I'm just going to make the very tip of it flat up against the head so it's even. So like I could even like super glue this too, but I'm not going to. So this is nice to have, you know, strong thread too, because you don't want to, because you want this leather on there tight, but that can break your thread. So I have the claw like in line with the hook shank. I think that'll be fine. Do the other side. So I could see people joining. I don't see comments or anything, but that's fine, but I haven't. This is my second time streaming, so I don't really know jack. I'm going to like upload this on my YouTube as well. I think I want to, you know, get as much, not even like publicity, just like experience with streaming and stuff. So they're in there, the claws are in there. Now I'm just gonna do like a whip finish to kind of keep the thread locked there. I'm gonna actually super glue that down, and then we'll put silicone on there. We don't even know what silicone we want on there yet, but a little bit of orange, a little bit of green, chartreuse even. So since I put those claws on, it's kind of like an oval. Looks like an oval. So I use this glue, Loctite. Dries quick. I like the size of the brush. It's kind of small. Like that Gorilla Glue comes with the brush, but the brush is like so fat that it's just, I don't know. I found something I like. I'll stick to that. I'll put this Marabou away, and then I'll get some kind of, I think I'll do like a dark green pumpkin that I think I have. Maybe some black, maybe some orange, but we'll take like 3 colors out, because if we're doing a video, let's do like 3 different colors. And then we'll tie that on, we'll finesse cut it, and then put some crystal flash in there. It'll be a cool jig. Alrighty. So I have this like, this is from fishingskirts.com. I just opened my like little container of skirts. This is sitting right on top. This is a dark green pumpkin, and the color's DGP, so that's probably dark green pumpkin. So this is perfect. It has, you know, black speckles on it. Not even like flaky speckles. These are like big dots on there. So we're gonna use this. This is a brand new pack. I've never used this color in my life. I also noticed that skirts are like out of stock a lot of places. I went to go buy some, specifically like unique colors and stuff. And I don't use a lot of tabs. I use like pieces of tabs when I do finesse jigs, so I use like multiple colors, so the stuff lasts me a long time, but I couldn't find a lot in stock, so I couldn't even like place an order. So like I'm getting the stuff off of like eBay and like all these like smaller companies. But so I noticed yesterday. What is that jig? I'm looking for that jig I made. I made this jig yesterday. It looks cool. You could put a trailer on it. It's got the ostrich feather in there. It's got the marabou and silicone. But I think I used a lot of silicone on this. Like, it's like an 8 out of 10. It could have been a 10 out of 10 if I didn't overwhelm that. So I want to say I used, for a base color, I used 2 tabs, and I took 3/4 of each tab into that jig, and there's a ton of silicone in there. So I'm going to do half. I'm going to do half on top, half on bottom. If there's gaps in there, it's fine. We could fill the gaps with like an accent color, which I have to get now. I have this like red. I'm not using this red for this jig, but I have all this crap from yesterday laying on my desk. Got so much stuff up here that's from like the last 5 jigs I made that I just never put away. Got that textured green pumpkin from yesterday. Got some black that I probably used like 2 weeks ago that's still here. So yeah, we'll get some orange. Maybe some chartreuse. Some chartreuse. I'll take like 2 strands of that. So we can go with these like orange with like black bars on there, or you can do this like bright orange with like gold flaky stuff on there. What do you think? I think the barred. We'll do the barred. That's cooler. Nick, what is up, dude? I was showing off some of your baits earlier. We're going to take 4 pieces out of this. You think that's not a lot, but like I said yesterday, you're going to be putting this on. This is 4 strands, and then you're folding it back, so that's actually like 8 strands of this like bright color. But we're going to take 4 because we're going to put 2 on top and 2 on bottom to make it like proportioned. And with this like loud green, you know, I'm going to take 4 of that too. Same thing. I don't know, I just like it. I like these loud colors, but I don't want them to ruin this jig, you know. So I was saying yesterday, I'll say it again, the main color that your jig's going to be is going to be the color you put down first. So we're going to put down the green. We're going to do the top half green, and we're going to do the bottom half green. So this is that dark green pumpkin. And I'm going to lay this down with like an inch past the hook barb. And this is a 3/8 ounce head. So you actually kind of have to be, I guess, careful with how you put it on there compared to like, I messed that up, but compared to like an 1/8 ounce head or like a 1/4 ounce head, the head and the hook is so short that you could throw it on there. It's going to work because you're going to have tons of room to trim that. But for this, we have to kind of use our brain, unfortunately, and think about, you want to have it so you can trim some on the end. You'll see. It's a non-complicated issue that I'm making sound complicated. So again, I go around a couple times and then I cinch it down. And I want this thread to be like hugged up against this head because I don't want you know, I don't want this whole section to be thread. I want it to be as thin as I can, so this stuff's gonna flare out and look cool. So you don't want it bunched up. You want a single layer, and I'm gonna spread it out so that it's covering the top half. And there's gonna be some gaps in there, which is it's better than, I mean, it's fine. We're gonna do that again to the bottom. And the thing I do is I mean, it's not crazy, but I put this clip on to get that skirt stuff out of the way. And it's also nice because if this is pulled tight, it's easier for you to get this thread hugged up against the head with that clip there. So we're gonna do the bottom half. So I kind of just mashed the length up like that. I don't know if you guys watch Trailer Park Boys, but one of the guys said it's not a rocket appliance, or you don't have to be a rocket appliance. Okay, so I'm cinching it down, but like not super hard because I want to spread the stuff out. I want to spread it out evenly where there is gaps, but the gaps are, you know, not big. If that makes sense. It's fine. The bass aren't going to be like, I don't know, there's a gap there. Okay, and also when you cinch it down, a lot of your skirts, or like if you tie with hair or like rabbit zonkers or something, when you're tying and like cinching it down, everything's going to rotate a little bit. So you got to keep that in mind too. It's another reason why I wrap it around twice and then snug down while holding it, because then you're not going to have it all rotate. So like I'll have rabbit zonkers on, and then like when I first started, they were crooked because I didn't know what I was doing completely. So that's another thing. So we're going to put orange and chartreuse on this thing. It has chartreuse and orange on the head. So that's why I picked those colors. And I see that there's a gap like on this pointy side of the football. So we're going to fill that gap with one of the accent colors. And we'll go with the chartreuse because that's a kind of a loud color. And having it on the side is like a perfect spot for that. So we're just going to eyeball line that up. Yeah, we're putting both pieces of the chartreuse there. And we'll do the same on the other side. And you could always, you know, re-clip this every time you put new colors on. We'll put the chartreuse on, then we'll put like the orange on like the four corners of this. And it'll look pretty cool when it's done. I think the stream's going a lot better than yesterday's. Oh shit. On the side. Yesterday I was kind of like, I don't know if I was nervous, but like I was just rambling and didn't know what, you know, I had no structure to my video. That's kind of how I am, so cool with that. Okay, so the chartreuse is on. I just have to put this orange on. So I'm going to put two on top, two pieces, two little strands on top and bottom. Doesn't seem like a lot, but this is actually going to be 4 strands on top, 4 strands on bottom after you're folding it over. And also, like, we're going to finesse cut some of this, so I don't know yet if I want to finesse cut, like, the accent colors yet. But, you know, you can always, like, manipulate it at the end. So it looks like there's a ton of silicone on here, like, well, that's going to, like, throw the jig off, but we're going to thin it down. And, like, sometimes, like, this takes, like, half hour to do. But, like, I can make a jig in 5 minutes if I wanted. But, like, I don't want to make a jig that was, like, you know, boring. I mean, I still have, like, pre-made skirts that I could just, that have the rubber collar on there that I could just toss on this, and it'll work just as fine as, you know, tying a half-hour jig. I don't know, like, what am I doing? Anyways, here's a new pack of Sally Hansen I bought today at Walmart. I was in the makeup section. So last night's stream I was talking about Sally Hansen for thread glue, and typically, like, after I use like 60-70% of this bottle, like, the Sally Hansen will thicken up and it looks like crap when you put it on, so I use like 60% of this and toss it and then buy a new one. So I'm always buying this. I'm waiting for Sally Hansen to sponsor me. But now that I'm live streaming, you know, yeah, I have a bad sense of humor. So we have Crystal Flash that I almost forgot about. What's up, everybody that joined? Thanks for joining, if you're still here. I have orange. We're going to use orange. But we have green, you know, gold. I think orange would look cool. Black would look cool too, but we're going to use orange. I'll show you how I would do this. And I don't know how I want to do this yet. So typically, I'll grab like 2 strands of this Crystal Flash, fold it in half like this, pinch it in the middle, cut that part so you have 4 strands like this, and tie that in. And then when it folds over, you're going to have, you know, 8 strands or whatnot. But thinking about this now, I'm going to only put this on the top. I'm going to, I don't know, like, I might do half of this. So I might do, so since I cut this, there's 4 pieces here. I'm going to do 2 pieces like 10 o'clock and then 2 pieces at 2 o'clock. And then that's going to be, you know, 4 pieces on each part that I tie it to, if that makes sense. So, and I'm putting it on the top. That way I am, because it's going to show on the top, on the bottom, like, you know, it's not going to matter so much on the bottom. You're not going to see it as well. So why waste the thread in thickening up that thread to add flash to the bottom? So there is the other. It's Saturday night and I've been streaming for like 2 hours, dude. We're done. Alright, so everything's done. I had to tie it down, glue it, and then trim it. That's it. I don't know if you're from Wisconsin or Iowa or Illinois. Ever had this? It's a Minnesota local surly. Pretty good. I had 2 of them last night. Probably why my stream was weird. Anyways, we have to tie or put a weed guard in there too that I just thought of. But I put that flash on. I'm going to clip that flash down so I'm not like getting that in the way of my whip finish that I'm about to do. I have a Bulbasaur toy, but I have like these whip finish tools that you see people use. I was using these all the time, but I have all this skirt here, and like using this whip finish tool is for tying silicone is not ideal. Facts. You could get like a larger one, but still gets in the way. So I just like do this hand whip finish that I do 99% of the time with all my jigs that I do. You have like complete control over where the thread's going. And like typically do like 8 to 12 whatever whips. Like again, this is my second stream and I've never been able to like really figure it out, but like I don't know who's in here. I think comments would show up if people left comments, but it's all good. I will try to put this on YouTube afterwards. So I'm done tying. We're gonna put, you know, Sally Hansen on. As I said before, Sally Hansen does not dry white like super glue does. And it like penetrates the thread as good as like fly tying head cement does. The brush size is pretty good. Pretty good as in it's not too fat or too big. And like, I don't know, it's clean. It dries clear, it doesn't dry white. If you fish with it, it doesn't turn white. Like if you fish with super glued thread or like super glued weed guards, that stuff will turn white when you fish. It shouldn't make a difference catching fish, but like it won't look as good. Looks, that's the only thing that kind of hurts. So this is gonna look pretty cool, but I gotta trim this up. This crystal flash is going crazy. So this is what I typically do. We're working on the head side first. I'll drape it over and I'll say like the longest I'd want this is like a 1/2 inch past the barb. So we're gonna cut this whole side on the head side of skirt material and flash material in that same spot. So kind of in here. And just chop that whole thing off. Last night's stream, my camera was zoomed in and it looks so bad. But anyways, that's what we have trimmed. And we're gonna finesse cut this, which is we're gonna shorten a lot of these strands because otherwise it's gonna be a lot of silicone and it's not going to, I think it's gonna hurt the presentation. But I think this jig, oh shoot, I just noticed that I have these leather claws in here, but I have that mono bait keeper in there for a plastic still. So who knows, maybe we can put like a Ned worm on there with the claws at the same time. I don't know. I might be talking to myself. But anyways, I usually just cut like every other one to a short length. But since this has like different colors in it, I'm going to make these orange ones short. So I'm going to just go ahead and do those first. These are like a 1/2 inch long now compared to like a long strand. It's not complicated, it's just hard to like explain sometimes. So then I have this chartreuse stuff. With the chartreuse, I'm just gonna cut them double that length, so they're like medium length compared to, you know, the longer stuff. So we're gonna leave some longer stuff in there, and it's gonna be that dark green pumpkin. We could leave that flash long too. I think that'll look cool. Now we're gonna cut the flash to medium. I'm just making that decision right now. Okay, so we just have green pumpkin left. We're gonna make some of these short So let's go around and make like every third short. It don't matter, you can take a chunk of them and cut them short. A lot on the bottom are short. And then I'm going to do, you know, I'll go, since there's not a lot left, I'll do every other one medium cut. Typically, like, the top you want shorter than the bottom because the bottom's not going to show as much. And if you cut, I cut that one kind of weird, but if you cut the top short, you're gonna you're gonna present whatever your plastic is, or you know, these claws are gonna show up better because there's gonna be less stuff draped over it. So we're gonna leave it there, like. So now there's actually only 4 long strands on this head side. So we're done with that. So this like hook side of the skirt, I'm going to try to start off with cutting them all the same length, kind of a little bit past the hook bend. So that's the goal. Let's cut all this stuff past the hook end, the hook bend in the same spot, even the crystal flash. I never want the crystal flash to be longer than the material because I think, how I see it, I think the crystal flash makes the bait shine and not its own thing, you know, I don't know. It makes sense on like a Marabou Jig. Just ignore that. Okay, so everything's cut the same way. So again, like I said yesterday, a lot of people kind of trim this side and they leave it. I'm gonna go and like trim every other one to like the middle of the hook point to the hook bend, like in there. So they're not all the same length. Especially the bright chartreuse ones. The bottom, again, isn't going to make a big difference because you're not going to be able to see it as much. But again, the bass do not care. They might, but... So a couple of them are long, some of them are shorter. You could even 3/4 cut them. But I think that looks good that way. So I think we're done here. I'm just trimming up the crystal flash a little shorter so that the Marabou's longer. So it's glued and it's trimmed. It's pretty much, you know, this thing's a finished jig outside of the lead guard. Hopefully we didn't mess it up and it looks good. So we still have this like chunk of silicone that I completely missed. So we're gonna cut that and then trim half of that. And at the same time there's like Marabou like twisted around all of this. Oh boy. It's not hard, it's just Alright, so we have a green pumpkin, chartreuse, and orange jig head with a hand-tied 30-pound mono bait keeper on it for plastic, even though we might not need plastic for this. I tied the Marabou on, and then right after I tied on these leather claws. And then after the leather claws, I, you know, put a layer of glue down, super glue, and then I put all that silicone on there that you saw, and then I trimmed that silicone, so like that looks like 40% of the silicone that I put on, so it's not so like overwhelming, and like I'll try to get a good view. I'm using the front camera of my phone, so it's not like high quality, but that's a pretty cool jig. I mean, you could have used like orange or black marabou. You could have like completely not used the marabou and used deer hair. But yeah, that's, you know, 3 colors on the head, and those 3 colors on the head are in the jig, in the silicone. Got the orange clouds and the green. And I have like people I work with that go, does it catch fish though? It's like, this bait, this is like, you could like argue this has never been made before, but you know it's gonna catch fish. That's what's kind of funny about it. Super cool claws. The marabou is gonna, you get this thing in the water and wet, this marabou is gonna like, it's gonna mat down a little bit, but it's going to breathe in the water, and the silicone is going to move while you move the jig, and the longer strands are going to move more than the shorter ones do. And you have that flash in there, so if it's sunny, there's going to be a little bit of flash in there. If it's dirty water, well, you got orange and chartreuse in there, you know, but at the same time, it's kind of a natural color. So now we could either epoxy in those like wire weed guards, or we can put a fiber weed guard on. We could see what it looks like with a fiber weed guard, but I might epoxy that, and I don't know if I'm going to put that on the live stream. It's top secret. So I found these green pumpkin chartreuse fiber weed guards. So these are like the eighth inch medium strength fiber weed guard. I think this would look cool. And if I do use fiber weed guards, it makes more sense to use these on a 3/8 or higher jig, heavier jig. But I'm going to, this is funny, but this is what I used to drill holes into the lead head, which I already did, but this is an 1/8 ounce or a 1/8 inch drill bit. I go through a couple of these a year, but after I paint this jig, I don't put like during the paint job, I don't put like a Teflon piece in there. I paint it with a hole, and then every single jig I do, I hand drill that like lead, the lead in that paint out of it, and I do it while looking at the angle of it. I don't just like drill where the hole is. I kind of have to keep an eye on the angle to the hook point with this drill, but you can have full control with a hand drill. So I do that, and I angle it to where I think is the best. So let's just put this fiber weed guard in and see how it would look, if it would look ugly. So that is what it would look like. This is not a trimmed weed guard yet, but that is what it would look like. Should we do fiber, or should we do with a wire guard? This is not glued in, by the way, it's just sitting in there. See, like, this fiber weed guard to me is like, it can kill a jig, it can kill the whole jig, and I honestly don't want it in there. So I'm gonna epoxy in like a double or a triple weed or wire weed guard in there. I don't know if I want to do that on stream or not. Is anybody in here? Does anybody want to see that? I'll show you. I have a trick. And it's with this. If you buy a Plano edge box, if you buy the jig box, you could fill the whole jig box. Like, I have one that's filled with chatterbaits. The whole box is filled with chatterbaits. And I had this extra thing, and I'll show you what I use with it. I'll show you what I use it for. I'm going to put this fiber weed guard away because I'm OCD and I need to put this stuff away before I go crazy. So I'm going to put this stuff away quick. We're doing it, guys. So the cool thing about my job, my real job, hopefully, well, it's okay. I have like 500 business cards for my job. Perfect for mixing epoxy on. So we're going to mix epoxy on this card. This is the epoxy I use. I get it from Hobby Lobby. Get this. So it's 5 minute. I use it for my weed guards. Use it for other stuff too around the house. But 5 minutes is easy to work with, and it holds the weed guard in for a jig. It functions. So we're gonna put the weed guard in, wire weed guard in. This is what I use this Plano edge thing for. I'll show you. So if you think about it, I have these wire like stainless steel twisted wire things. I'm gonna take 2 of them out. And it's funny because how the hell are you gonna epoxy these in? Are you gonna hold them in place for 5 minutes until the epoxy sets? There's also like this curve to these, so I actually take pliers and I bend this together. So it's like smushed. And I set this aside. This is gonna be the weed guard. This is what I do with this Plano edge here. So I have the hook here. This hole is 90 degrees facing up, so that epoxy is going to sit in there and it's not going to like spill off the side. Are you getting the hint here on what's going to happen? So the one thing I'm missing, it's on the floor, is a little like hair rubber band. Little rubber band. Why is that on there? Why do you think that is on there? It's gonna hold those wires on there, so you don't have to hold it for 5 minutes while the epoxy is setting there. And you can adjust this higher or lower to change the angle of the wire weed guard. There you go. It's the secret. So I want to put epoxy into this hole, but this skirt stuff is like going nuts. So I have these clips that I use when I tie silicone, and I just clip them on, and it pulls them. It pulls them to the side. So I put one on each side, and it'll pull the skirts away. So I have that hole to work with. Yep. Wonder how long the stream's been going for. Like, super long. But yeah, like, I said this like 3 times, but like, if you're new or if you just joined recently, like, I think I streamed for like an hour and then my phone died. So I think all of that stuff like got deleted. I unboxed a rod. I unboxed a bunch of JDM baits. And I went through my tackle bag that I bank fish with and all the baits in there and accessories that I have. And then everything got deleted, I think, so I quickly ran through all that stuff again. But yeah. I got room for epoxy and I don't got silicone and hair in the way. And I'm not going to sit here and having to hold it. So this is getting really boring, I bet. I'm going to put some epoxy down. It's like how to make a jig in 2 hours. So a little pea size. See, I've been using epoxy. So I just take like a little toothpick tool, whatever these are, and I mix it up. But since I have like green pumpkin on the top, I don't want clear epoxy there. I'm gonna actually put some like colored powder in there, like a little bit of green, and I'll cloud up that epoxy so that it kind of match the head. Here's some like dark green, like mica powder, I think it's called. So we're going to put a tiny bit of this on because this is going to go a long way. I don't want it like solid green. I just want like a, slightly colored clear. It'll be fine. Bass don't care. People that make baits don't even care, so this is just personal preference. Why go 99%, right? So then I glob it on and drop it in that hole. The color doesn't even match perfectly, but it's all good. So I put a drop in there, and every time you do that, there's going to be air in that hole. And there's going to be an air bubble that's going to pop when I put... Damn it. So I lost one of those wire weed guards. Oh, boy. So we're going to quickly grab another wire and bend it because this epoxy is going to dry. Then I will put these in and try to show you without moving this jig around. And also this is like I'm explaining this and taking kind of a long time. This doesn't take that long. So as soon as you put these wires in, that air bubble is going to pop and it's going to leave a big gap where I can put another drop of epoxy in. So I'm going to do that second drop of epoxy in there. Look good. Okay, so now I'm going to raise the rubber band up to angle my wires, away from the hook point. And then I'm going to spread them out. So there's a wire on each side of the hook point. Until how I have it. So now that's going to dry that way. It's in the perfect spot, the perfect angle, and I don't have to hold it in place. It's going to dry in like, I don't know, 10 minutes. So yeah, I did a lot of, I've been streaming for a long time, so I'll probably end this, but after that dries, I'll, I don't know, I still have to do that giveaway with the other video. And I have a handful of finesse jigs that I'm gonna give away. I'll throw a 110 in there too. I'll throw one of my favorite Megabass 110 patterns in there. I'm from Minnesota. You're gonna get this GG perch. Like it's the go-to. Have you ever caught giant panfish in the cities through the ice? I catch some big ones. I don't know. I don't catch like super giants, but I've been catching a lot of like average size perch and bluegill crappie. But you know, every once in a while they'll catch a pretty big one. Nothing like record size or anything. But yeah, it's not transparent. It's a GG color, so it's got like a lot of shine, and it's good for, you know, northern guys. So whoever wins that giveaway that maybe 2 people know about, you just have to leave a comment on my video from yesterday on Instagram, and you're in it to win it. You get $25 Vision 110, and you get a Marabou Jig, a hair jig, and a handful of Finesse Jigs that I've been making the last couple months. And you get the jig I made yesterday, kabang. And then I'll have these all in their separate packaging, so you're not gonna get like a ball of crap like it is now. And then this jig, I'll throw this jig in there too. This will just be part of the whole giveaway, but you'll just have to comment on the video from yesterday. Just leave a comment on my Instagram on yesterday's video. I think there's 2 people in it. 2 people in the giveaway right now, but I'll let it soak for a couple days, and then I'll draw a random number and throw that all in a box. Yeah, pretty cool. Thanks for joining, though. I don't know how many people are in here. I can't really see much, but yeah, I'll put this on YouTube. I'll upload it to YouTube. This has been a long stream, like, I don't know, 2 hours or something, but it's a lot of cool stuff. I did get a lot of my video cut out because my phone died because I didn't have it on a charger, but yeah, I think the stream went a lot better than yesterday's stream, but yeah, have a good night, Jumbo. We'll do another live again. It's pretty cool, pretty fun. I mean, I don't know what, like, it's been 2 hours. It feels kind of crazy that it's been that long, and I'm still talking, so that's a good sign. But we're gonna end the video. The giveaway is the giveaway. I've said it 100 times. This jig's gonna be part of that. I will, you know, do a photo shoot of this and post it tomorrow. But thanks if you did join, and appreciate it. I'm trying to end the video still.